Welcome to Culinari. I'm Ari, and today we're gonna play another game. This one's called Superhero. Dang it! Marvelous Munchies. That was actually a good one. I got a lot of good feedback from my last video, so I wanted to make another one for you guys and keep this going. But today I am going to use a random Marvel movies generator and pick 3 movies from Marvel and get creative off of them. Okay, so the first one is Thor. I'm guessing movie number 1. Second one is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I don't think I saw that one. I'm not really a fan of Captain America. He's very boring. Ooh, the last one's Endgame. Oh, colors. That's the first thing I think of. I think of the glove and I think of all the, oh my God! Oh, my neighbors are gonna hate me. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Stay tuned.
All right, fellers. Okay, so we're starting with Thor, and Thor is originally from Germanic mythology. So I knew I wanted to do German food, but like, what do Germans even eat, right? Like Wiener Schnitzel and pretzels. So I was like, okay, how do I make pretzels interesting and avoid your average pairing of like beer and cheese and still connect it to the storyline? And in retrospect, if we think about the movement of the movie, right, dude goes from being in space to falling from grace to going back to being on top. So I was like, okay, how do I make this dish vertical? But before I could even wrap my head around that, I had to think about the flavors. And in the movie, there are 2 main weapons that stand out to me. One is the freezing thingy that Loki uses to kill the only black guy in the movie, but okay. And then old fire-faced dude with the lava coming out of his head. So I wanted to have a frozen component to go with the warm pretzels. Now, the original mythology, Thor has red hair to represent his fiery temper, which works because there's a lot of warm tones in this movie. So I wanted to keep the colors around like reds, pinks, yellows, and I wanted to follow Thor's character development. So the first frozen treat was going to be a yellow spiced apple, which works because Germans eat a lot of apples. And the second one was going to be a basic white earthy flavor to represent his fall to earth. So I was going to do a vegan cheesecake because Germans eat a lot of cheese. And then the last one was going to be a red bold flavor, which was going to be that cherry black forest cake that the Germans are famous for. And so like for plating, I kind of wanted to make it look like the balls were dropping and create like a splashing effect. And then look, beautiful. Okay, so update. I have seen this movie. This was a very aggressive movie. I feel like everybody and their mother got shot. So I wanted to keep the flavors intense and as bold as possible. So I always think of like beets, garlics, onions, very in your face, along with some type of powder to represent the gunpowder. And this is Captain America, so of course I had to keep the ingredients native to Americas, which are your potatoes, tomatoes, chia, dandelion greens, things of that nature. And there was also a lot of high-tech machinery involved in this movie, kind of like Spy Kids, but on crack. So I tried to use as many techniques as possible. So purees, sauces, baking, dehydrating, keeping it fresh, cooking it. Then taking a look at the movie in general, there was so much duality going on. We have the old good versus bad, and then you have Captain America, who's clean-cut and lame, and then Black Widow, who's more like edgy. So every ingredient I used, I tried to do it in 2 different ways. So we have your beet powder, beet chips, tomato salad, tomato sauce, your fried potatoes, and your potato puree. And then there was something else I noticed. There was a lot of secrets in this movie. You know, like there's a lot of like secret compartments. You don't know who to trust. So I was like, how do I create a secret on the plate? And then I took a step back and I was like, no one's expecting tofu to be stuffed with anything. So let's stuff the tofu. And let's not forget to mention the main thing you think of when you think of Captain America. His butt. No, I'm kidding. His shield. So I tried to incorporate his shield as much as possible. I created a shield for the tofu with that chia cracker because it's the only soft thing on the plate. And then when plating, I tried to recreate that pattern on the plate. And also it just so happens that when you cut beets, they had that same exact pattern, which worked out perfectly. So with plating, I tried to make it like busy but beautiful because that's kind of how the movie was. It was very action-packed and there was a lot going on at once. So I didn't want to make this minimal, kind of like how I did with Thor. And then dun 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 dun, Captain America, boo. It's a song I just made. Okay, so right off the bat, I thought about all the different components and colors this dish I wanted to have. And so I knew I was going to do a dessert, but I had to think about like what reminds me of something that has a lot of different fruits and flavors. And I was like, fruit punch, you know, Fruit Loops. And then I thought about a garden, but that didn't really go with the movie. But guess where Thanos retires? A garden. So we're making a freaking garden. Stone number 1, the reality stone. So what do we know about it? It's red, it can disrupt the laws of physics, and it's the only liquid stone. So when Thor goes to retrieve it, he runs into his cute little mama. So I wanted this to be a component that's not only liquid, but also red and kind of plays with the laws of physics. And it makes me think of pomegranates and how they're solid, but when you put them in their mouth, they kind of gush liquid. And when I think of moms, I think of flowers and Mother's Day, which is why I went with rose. Number 2, the power stone. So what I know about this one is that it's purple and it makes you a bad mama jamma. No one can stop you. You're undefeatable, whatever. And when the blue alien chick goes to retrieve it, when she reaches for it, her hand burns. So I thought about like, what is tough, purple, and really strong and like kind of burns almost, which weirdly made me think of English biscuits initially because they're tough cookies. You get it? Tough cookie. But then I decided to fill it with lavender and blackberries because I know lavender is a very strong flavor. Number 3, the time stone. So it's green and it's retrieved by Hulk, who's also green, and it's all about controlling time. So because Hulk is the one that retrieved it, I wanted this component to be the tallest thing on the plate, and it had to take a lot of time to make. And then I thought about how the bald lady pushes the Hulk's spirit out of his body and he becomes see-through. So I thought of the idea of like, how do I make a see-through kiwi? Which most definitely is going to take a lot of time because I had no clue how I was going to do it. 4, the soul stone. It's orange and you have to sacrifice someone. So when I think of souls, it kind of clicked. Souls, spirits, liquor. And I wanted it to be cold because it was snowing on the mountain. So I thought about making a cream and filling it with almond liqueur and some orange zest and just having that be like nice and fluffy. Number 5, the Mind Stone. So it's yellow, and Captain America actually has to fight himself in order to get it, and it gives you the ability of like telekinesis and to control minds. So I knew I wanted to do a mirror effect to represent Captain America fighting himself, and something airy to represent like the floating of telekinesis. So which made me think of lemon meringue because it's airy, it's fluffy, and it gives you that mirror effect. Last but not least, the Space Stone, which is retrieved by Iron Man, and he has to actually go back into the 70s to get it. And I know Jell-O was really popular in the 70s, so I made a blueberry rosemary Jell-O, trying to keep the flavors very herbaceous because it's a garden. And if you notice when I plate it, I actually make it long and rectangular because I know the Tesseract is square, and I wanted it to take up as much space as possible. Clever. So this is how God must have felt when he was like setting up the Garden of Eden, because I'm like, this is the dirt, this is the land of my people, this is the grass for my children to play in. So here is me setting up the garden, and we have all of our different components, and I wanted to make sure it was as balanced as possible. So I have like the representation and the abstract idea of like dirt, and then you have the green earthiness of the matcha cake, and then we have all the different components, and this is how it turned out. And that's all I have for you guys. So if you liked this video, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. You know what to do. Do the thing. Thank you for sticking around.